Today, we're talking about something that blew my mind out of my face, and it fell to the floor, got a little dirty, I wiped it off, and then put it back, so it's fine. And that is creating proxies in Adobe Premiere, but before we jump into that, let's talk about what proxies are. A proxy is a file that represents another for better workflow. So, if you have a large file called, say, ducks, you might have some trouble working with that file inside of your editor, especially once you get a lot of them in there. So to help this, you would create a much smaller version of that file, which is called a proxy. The way I've always done it before is by batch exporting all of my files into a new folder called Proxies, but all the files would retain the same name as the original. So now in my editor, I can edit all the much smaller and more manageable files without system chugging or getting sluggish at all. Then, of course, in the end, I would go back to the original files for the final export by making all these files offline, then reconnecting to the folder of the full quality versions, and done. It's a process I normally do everything I can to avoid because the extra step is just annoying to me, but not so much anymore. I've known Adobe had a process for this for a little while now, but I've never looked into it because proxies, but thanks to Lucas, my editor on Ballistic, I finally gave it a try, and it's insanely simple and all the amazing. And yes, I do work with Adobe often, but they have nothing to do with this episode, and even if they did, I only ever say 100% what I believe, okay? Happy, inevitable, cynical commenter. Currently, this process is proving extra helpful as we work on all the BTS for my coming film Ballistic. We have more than 8 days of behind the scenes footage, often from 2 cameras, so in total, we have over something like 4,000 clips. So managing all that normally would be a nightmare, but instead, we handled it like this. We dragged and dropped our folder structure right into Premiere, then right-click the top folder, go to Proxies, then create Proxies. Now you'll get this pop-up window. You'll select what format you want your proxies to be in, and more importantly, where you can save them. You can save them next to the original files, but I wouldn't. It sounds like a headache waiting to happen. Instead, I'll create a new folder called Proxies inside that project and then hit OK. Now Premiere is going to send all this footage to Media Encoder, which depending on how much footage is in your folder could take a while. But once it's all sent, you'll see Media Encoder automatically starts its work on your files, and it's very fast. So really, once you hit OK, you can walk away from it and let it do its thing. So if you have a large project like we did, we could start the process and leave it over a weekend to get done. But once it has finished, we can come into our project window right here, click up here, then click metadata display. In here, you can select what info you want to show up in your project window. So for now, we're going to uncheck everything and just check proxies so we can see that easily. And now you can see next to these files that we sent, it says attached, so we know we have proxies attached to these original files. And now here's the best part. Go to your program monitor, click this target here and find this icon. Once you hover over it, it'll say toggle proxies, drag and drop that with the other controls, click OK. And now when you click it, it turns blue to let you know that you now have switched over to your proxies. That's it. Then when you want to switch back to the original file or maybe check quality, something with grading, you click it again, it turns white, and you're now working with the original files. And the quality of the proxies are solid, so it isn't distracting like when you put your project on quarter res. I mean, if you zoom in on the file like this, you can see the difference when I toggle between the two, but overall, you don't even notice much of a difference. So the next time that you're working on a large project, give this a shot. It'll make your edit life a whole lot easier. But now, another rendition of Fun with Adobe Stock.
Well, hey there! Fun with Adobe Stock is a game that you can play at home. Just go to adobestock.com, search for whatever weird thing pops into your head, and boom-be-bamby, weird shit. Look at this guy. Hey, champion. All right, let's check out some more from this golden pile of wonderment. Yes, tons of goodies for us to download. So let's grab a couple in a dope track, as the kids would say. And now we have this.
Gotta go to work now. Gotta make it hurt. Gotta do some dirt now. Might pull up in a hearse. Tell them get the nurse now. Tell them get the doc. Everybody duck black. They letting off shots.
Using the internet without a VPN is like changing with the window open or doing your banking in public.
I'm gonna stop you there. What is a VPN?
That's actually a useful question. It's a virtual private network.
No, that doesn't sound right.
But it is.
I don't think so.
So instead of browsing the internet naked, start protecting yourself and get 77% off a 3-year plan by using the coupon code FilmRide at nordvpn.com/FilmRide.
Very perverse ninjas.
And I'll be honest, using a VPN is brand new to me, and it's something I should have done a long time ago. Basically, it works like this. You get a NordVPN account, download the app on your computer and your phone, then sign in and turn it on. That's it. And what it's doing is hiding your IP by redirecting your connection through a remote server, which means it's making it seem like your location is somewhere else entirely. And on top of that, your ISP no longer knows what you're doing, so no more targeted ads, and more importantly, if you're experiencing throttling, or if you're going to, this will stop that as well, since your ISP won't know what site that you're on to be able to throttle it on you.
Violent, pervasive narcolepsy.
Stop. Now, once you've activated NordVPN, you can select which of the thousands of servers in 61 plus countries you want to use. This is awesome because you can make it seem like you're in that country. So if you wanted to watch something that's on Netflix only available in another country, you could switch over to a server in that region and you're in.
I got it. Voluptuous pirate nudity.
Now, all that is great, but the main reason that you need to use a VPN is safety, especially when connecting to public Wi-Fi like at a coffee shop or hotel. The second that you do that, you're broadcasting everything you do to anyone who cares to look. But when you use the VPN, your info is hidden.
Voldemort pees naked.
Plus, they have a Chrome extension that makes it crazy easy, Android and iOS apps, military-grade encryption, no data logging, and it's the only VPN with a perfect score from PC Mag. So do yourself a favor, jump over to nordvpn.com/FilmRiot, use the coupon code FilmRiot, and save yourself 77% on a 3-year plan of awesomeness.
Vikings party nightly. That's gotta be it.
Do you hear anything
That's
I
gotta
said?
be it.
Logo. If you haven't heard yet, we're kicking off a new podcast called the Film Riot Podcast, of course, and it's going to be a weekly conversation with different filmmakers about the craft and business of filmmaking. The first episode is with guest David Sandberg, director of DC's Shazam, which comes out on Tuesday, June 5th. But since I announced it, I've been getting a lot of questions about how I'm recording, and it's a pretty simple setup, actually. I have the Rode Procaster, which is the mic I use for the Monday Film Riot episodes as well, and I have that on a PSA-1 boom arm, which mounts to my desk clamp style, so I can move it if I want. It's not bolted down. For my pop filter, I have the RE320 Pop from BSW. It works great and it looks the best from all the ones that I found, which is important since I have it on camera a lot. Then all of this is running into my Scarlett 2i2 and I record right inside of Audition. Once I have my recording done, I toss on a preset that I made for this so I don't have to do it every time, which consists of a compressor to level everything out, an EQ where I pull down some of the lows and boost some of the highs, then a denoiser to get rid of any hum that might be in the room, and a decrackle that I started using recently. I found that it does a great job at taking down some of those gross, annoying mouth sounds you get due to the proximity of the mic to your face. And finally, a hard limiter, and that's it. After that, I pass it off to Emily for all the editing. And we're done. Of course, I'll put links to all that gear in the notes below. I'm also looking into a DBX 286, I think it's called, to bypass having to do a lot of the processing work in post. A friend recently told me about that, so I'm gonna give that a shot soon as well. But there you have it. Again, the podcast is coming this Tuesday, June 5th. Should be online by 10 a.m. CST, so do us a huge favor, go subscribe and check out our first episode on Tuesday. If you dig it, leave a review on iTunes and share it. It'll really help us out and I will love you forever. We've also tried to make the podcast available everywhere we possibly can. It's on Google Play now as well and across Android apps. It'll be on Spotify too. It just takes forever. They're telling us early June, so hopefully it'll be there for the first episode. And if you're a Plex user, Plex just launched podcasts as well, so you can listen to it there too. But shoot us a tweet if there's somewhere that you like to listen to your podcast and can't find it. But that's it. Check below for links for some of the places that you can subscribe to the podcast, and I'll see you next week when I'm doing spy stuff, not laundry.